The Anything CD and the Chick 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 remix were kind of like the launching pads for like that got us like traveling internationally. Actually, there was a time we got hired to sabotage a party.
What?
And that was like, man, for like 6 weeks, the first 6 weeks of that downstairs, that was like the best place to be in New York. Or if like you get home and you lost your keys and you don't want to wake your super up, you're like, fuck it, I'll go to body until the morning. I don't know, like 40 people and they're like all high on coke and ecstasy and like just dancing around. Passerby just closed. We did the closing party there, which was insane. We finished at like 1 PM.
I need those, the ungoogleable things.
Hey there, it's me, Roxy Cottontail. You might know me as a DJ, artist, designer, and New York City party promoter, or from my bunny logo. I'm putting all that on the table and writing about the years that transformed music and the New York City scene. I've interviewed 250 friends and colleagues I admire. I ask all and reveal all. Please join me and the Tales to rediscover the 90s and the Y2K magical landscape of music, art, technology, and streetwear. This is Roxy's Tales.
I'll let you introduce yourself.
Me? I'm Eric Duncan.
And you make music and DJ.
Yes, I do.
And you're half of Rub N Tug.
Yes, I am.
Anything else I should know?
Yeah, Rub N Tug, still going, was another thing we did. I did a couple of records on DFA, was still going.
My guest this week on Roxy's Tales is Eric Duncan. As one half of Rub N Tug with Thomas, Dunks helped soundtrack New York's dance floors during a time when indie disco punk and house music collided into something entirely new. From his years at XLARGE to arriving in New York City, the legendary parties, and his decades behind the decks, he's remained one of underground dance music's most respected selectors. Without further ado, Eric Duncan.
And how did you start DJing?
I lived like my teenage years in LA, that's where I'm from. But then I like most of my adult life was in New York. But like in LA, like in the 80s, there was like DJ crews and my friends were part of it. So I kind of got involved a little bit with it like that. But I didn't start taking it really serious till probably like, I don't know, like 93 or something like that, 93, 94. And then I moved to New York. And then I started DJing like right away. As soon as I landed on Monday and I started playing on Tuesday. There was a hip hop party at a bar called Spoon on Avenue A on Tuesday nights. And it was like, during the summer there, it was crazy. It was like half of Avenue A was just full of kids, like inside the bar and outside the bar on the street. And it was every Tuesday night. It was nuts. We used to call it Ellis Island because it was kind of like all the new people that come from New York would end up there. That was like a joke we had, like with Aaron and those guys who were saying that.
What year was that?
That was probably like 95 maybe.
Okay.
And the owner Lance was like, dude, like I love what you're playing. You want to have like your own nights? And I started doing Thursdays there. So I was like already like that, started DJing. And then that like led to like, in those days there weren't so many DJs. So it was kind of like a little circuit of downtown. You played like all the, you know, like Bob Bar and what was that place on Houston? And there's like all these new little spots popping up. And then there's like restaurants and stuff. And you play like Irving Plaza or whatever like that, those kind of places. And so you started getting this circuit, and there's like, you know, 10 or 15 DJs, that's it. You know, so everybody kind of knows each other. And if like somebody you have to cover for somebody, then you cover for them. And that place gives you another night. You're playing like anonymous restaurants and like places where nobody even knows there's a DJ there, that kind of shit, just to make money if you're playing like 5, 6, 7 nights a week, you know.
When did you start Rub N Tug?
Rub N Tug, we started playing together, me and Thomas, around 98. Mm-hmm. We first started the party at 169 Bar. That was probably 90. The first one we ever did there was probably 98 or 99, I don't remember. And then our friend Rui got a hold of this like kind of old sort of Chinese massage parlor on the 3rd floor of 59 Canal Street. Mm-hmm. And it had all these little rooms that just held like a little bed and like a place for the lotion. And the first time we went in there, they had a box of business cards, and we used those business cards as flyers because it had the address on it, and you didn't save money on making flyers. You just had them up. And so like the party, we just started calling the party Rub N Tug because it was in a Rub N Tug spot. And then we just took the name as we started to get more like popular and traveling and stuff. We just took the name as Rub N Tug.
And you and Thomas were booked together, or how did that happen?
Actually, the very first one wasn't me and Thomas. It was me and John Franco from Peperoso played. And it was like he'd only knocked down one room. So there was like only about 20 feet by like 10 feet space. And we put up like a piece of wood from the fire escape window to like a stool, 2 turntables, mixer, and then we had to climb underneath to get in the DJ booth. And Rui had the bar, and there was like I don't know, like 40 people and they're like all high on coke and ecstasy and like just dancing around. And that was the very first party he did there. Then the next week or 2 weeks later, he knocked down like 3 or 4 more rooms and got bigger, and then it got bigger, and then it got bigger, and then it was like a whole like 400 people in the end. And we would go from midnight to like 10 in the morning sometimes.
How long did this party run?
We did that party until he died. I don't know, 99 until probably like 2003 or 4. And then he passed away, and he kind of handed over the business, went over to another guy. He kind of took over, and then he kind of lost the lease on the 3rd floor, and we moved it down to the 2nd floor. And that was when it got more like trendy and people started coming there. That was actually already like a karaoke spot or some kind of place. Even before we were doing that, we were doing, do you remember Fun? Were you around when Fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we played Fun. We had the Saturday night residency at Fun, Rub N Tug.
Yeah, where else were you playing or going to?
But in those days, like, yeah, then there was like Passerby was starting to happen, like 2000, whatever that was, 2 or 3. So we started doing Saturday nights at Passerby. Like I was doing every Saturday at Passerby. We did lock-ins there, and that was nuts. That was like,
Yeah, I came to those. Were you playing at the Hole?
I played at the Hole. I played at the original Hole was on like Avenue A, right?
Mhm.
No, that was the Cock.
Yeah. But the Cock
Cock-
became the Hole.
The original, no, but the original, what was the one on like 12th and A?
That's the Cock.
That's the Cock. I played there, and the first, that was the original Cock, yeah.
Yes.
I played there. Then I also played a couple times at the other one that was on 2nd Ave, maybe.
Yeah.
But that was all kind of random. Like say Spencer was doing something there, he'd ask me to come play or something like that. It wasn't like my thing.
Were you going to Lit, or were you playing at Lit?
Yeah, of course I was playing at Lit. Yeah, Lit in the basement. There was just so many things popping up around that time. I mean, if you name places, I would be like, yeah, I know that I played there, or like I might have a.
Did you play at Don Hills, Sway?
Don Hills, I played. Sway was actually called McGovern's Tavern back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, way back. That was before it became Sway. But I used to play at Spy Bar in Soho, which was like Nur, who did Sway. He also owned a place called Wax before that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, it was like Spy Bar and Wax were like the first kind of models and bottles like spots, you know? Like that was like 96. Central Fly was like, I did the Thursdays and Fridays, or Fridays and Saturdays in the VIP room there. So like, that was like a residency there as well. Then they kind of expanded. They started doing like more stuff in the basement. I started playing there sometimes.
How did you meet Harvey, and then how did you meet Aaron?
I moved from LA to New York to work. I was working for XLARGE, which is a streetwear company.
Oh, wow, cool.
So we had a store on Avenue A, and we were moving it to Lafayette. So I wanted to get out of LA. I was like bored. So they were like, oh, we'll just fly in to help us move the store to Lafayette. And I was like, cool. So that's the reason I came out. So I was already like in that world of like skating, and I used to skate, and I knew like already like guys from New York like Futura and Stash, and I knew Justin Pierce and Harold and all those guys. So Justin would stay with me, and then all the other kids from New York would come stay at our place in LA. So I kind of got to know a bunch of kids from New York. So when I landed in New York, it was like really easy for me. Like I landed on my feet. I knew everybody, all the Supreme kids, like everybody like that. So it was like really, and Aaron was working. I think Aaron was like 19 years old, so he was a kid. He was working at like Stussy maybe, or Union, I don't remember. So that's how I know him. And then I flew back to LA like in 96 or 97 to see Harvey and Thomas play at a party called Wax that Paul T from LA organized. And that was Sarcastic Disco Parties. And he's the first guy to bring Harvey to LA. So he had Thomas warm up for him. So I met them both at the same time. And Thomas had just moved to New York as well. And we became Rub N Tug.
I found some flyers as I've organized my archive. I sent you this one. This was a Friday night. So I met Aaron in 03, but it took him a while to listen to some of the mixes that I was sending him of Hollertronics, which was Diplo and Low B. And we started doing the Monday night at Sway. We also started doing this Friday night together, where he would one of us would curate the upstairs and he would do the downstairs.
It was 11.
It became the Annex, and then it became Tammany Hall. And now it's a karaoke bar. And then this was an infamous birthday for Aaron.
Where was that at?
This was a place called Boulevard. It's now Vandal, I believe.
I remember that flyer, but I don't remember the party.
It was a blurry time. And then of course the block party.
Yeah, in front of Russ's store, yeah.
When did you and Aaron start doing events together?
I couldn't even tell you, to be honest. It wasn't like a planned thing. It's like we were all just friends, and he was like, you know, he needed a DJ, so like he was like, oh, so and so needs, like, we're gonna fly to Sweden, and like in 2000, I think was the first time we traveled. And we're gonna go to Sweden together, like me, him, Justin Pierce, Russ from Sir. Who else went? Ballhead Greg came on that trip. Shady. And we all went to Sweden, and it was just kind of like we needed a DJ, needed a photographer. So Aaron would just organize, like, you know, like Russ had the hookup with Levi's or whoever flew us there, or some store, and then he would bring Aaron along, and Aaron was like, okay, we need a photographer, a DJ, and like a sort of hype kit of celebrities. So we bring Justin, Dunks, and Shady, and then we go do it, and then that's it. So it was always like that. We didn't like plan like, oh, let's do events together. Just be like, Aaron had like a hookup for some kind of thing, and then he needed a DJ, and I was there.
And when did Rub N Tug start traveling?
We started getting more popularity from that. We did that CD on Anything.
Yeah.
That was live at Rui's, the black and white one. And that one, like somebody came from somewhere like and heard it, like somebody from Europe was like, fuck, what is this? And it was like at a friend's house, and they're like, oh, it's these guys that do this like after hours and downtown. He's like, fuck, this is amazing. That guy took it back to Germany or whatever, gave it to his agent, and then his agent called us, and then like we started getting flown out to Berlin and staying there and playing around Europe. Like, yeah, one thing led to another. We were playing like totally different than the way anybody else was playing back then. So it's kind of more like aggro, rock and roll, acid, sort of druggy, like, you know, that kind of style.
Yeah.
Also, that what kicked it off, we did a remix for Chick Chick Chick, which blew up, and that was like big on Warp. That was in 2004.
You said it came out on Warp Records?
On Warp, yeah.
Where else were you going in the 2000s?
Everywhere. After hours. There was like so many after hours back then as well. I mean, even actually there were more in the 90s. They started to phase out by the 2000s, the after hours, but like the really gnarly after hours, like Body Heat and places like that, where it was like scary, where they wouldn't let you stand up, you know, unless you're going to the toilet.
What?
Yeah, like crazy things like that. Yeah, straight up drug after parties. Like there's no music. There's just a bar. A girl was standing behind a table with some cocktails, like vodkas and shit in plastic cups, and dudes just selling coke. A lot of people don't know about that spot.
No one's mentioned Body Heat.
Yeah, Body Heat was the shit. It was like it was like the last resort of after hours, when everything else was closed. You would go there. Or if like you get home and you lost your keys and you don't want to wake your super up, you're like, fuck it, I'll go to Body Heat until the morning.
Like, were you going to Motherfucker?
Sometimes. I mean, I played at like almost all those places like at least once until they didn't like me. Because I would just be playing crazy shit and not hip hop or whatever the fuck they wanted to hear. Actually, there was a time we got hired to sabotage a party.
What?
Yeah, what was that place on like 10th Avenue that was upstairs? Had a hot tub in it.
Oh, Park. Yeah, we got hired to sabotage some promoter's party that another promoter didn't like, and they lied to us saying that we were like a big time like hip hop DJs, and it was a hip hop party, so we came in and played like Italo disco and all this like rave music really loud, and like everybody left. Hilarious.
I forgot about that till now.
Yeah, I need those, the ungoogleable things.
Yeah, that's where I was the night before fucking 9/11 happened.
It
was a Monday night at Park, and Tuesday fucking 9/11 happened.
Oh.
At that exact party that I'm just mentioned. Fuck, that's crazy. And then I woke up the next day like 2 PM. I'm just chilling at my crib watching Comedy Central, like drinking water, kind of recovering. And like I can't get through on my phone, nothing. And then I finally get through, and there's 2 messages, one from my mom, one from Thomas. And like Tom's like, yeah, man, the tower's in Spain. I'm like, the tower's in Spain? What the fuck's he talking about? And then my mom was like, call me right away, like all frantic. I was like, what the fuck? So I got a hold of my mom. She was like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. She's like, what's going on over there? I was like, what do you mean? She's like, turn on the TV. I go, it's on. She's like, put on the news. I put on the news, like, oh shit. It was like, at this point, it's like 2 PM.
How was like nightlife at that time? I mean, were you playing out?
We were still doing the Rub N Tug parties. We would get raided, because we'd get raided probably like every other party would get busted by the cops, because it was totally illegal. But then when the cops busted us after 9/11, they came and they were like, and it was about maybe 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after. We were just like, look, man, we're just trying to have a good time. Like shit is fucked up. And they were actually being cool about it. They were like, yeah, I know. just try to keep it down. We'll let you guys keep going, blah, blah. And they didn't shut us down. And because usually we had like a thing where everybody knew to just leave and come back in 30 minutes because we're going to start over again. You know, like everyone just leave, like, okay, the cops kick us out, everybody leave and come back in half an hour. Because the thing, I don't know if you know, that like back then, I don't know if it's still the same, but there was the shift change in the police. So I think the shifts changed at like 5 a.m. is a new shift. So you can get new cops on the beats or like that. So they're not going to have the same coming around again, like fucking with you because those guys are already gone home. So after about 5, you can start to like pick it up and get loud again and go crazy again. There was so much shit going on at that time. Like in those little like 4 or 5 years, there was like so much going on. Like every single night was like something, you know, even before that in the 90s was like that too. Every night, like every single night you're doing something.
Were there other artists that you were remixing besides Chick Chick Chick?
That was like the first one we did. Then we did LCD Sound System later, Roxy Music, Beastie Boys we did all kinds. You got to look on Discogs.
Who were some of the people that changed your trajectory? Like the mixtape with In Your Thing?
Yeah, like that one, that first mixtape was that kind of got us like once I got in the hands of certain people, it got us kind of out there a little bit. Then the remixing, and all our remixes were kind of, you know, doing well. As far as like, there was not like one thing. I would say that the main 2 ones were the first, the Anything CD and the Chick 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 remix were kind of like the launching pads for like, that got us like traveling internationally. I mean, I was already traveling a bit internationally with the streetwear stuff, you know, like with all my connections with that and skateboarding and things like that. Because I was helping with skateboard companies doing music for their videos and that kind of shit. So I was kind of like in that. I've always been on that side too, like in that sort of world, and then also the DJ world. So I have a lot of old friends that are in that kind of business. So I was already doing that.
Yeah.
But as far as Rub N Tug, like I think, yeah, we did that. Those are the 2 things. Then we did that one later on when Dash did the artwork, the slow one, the Better with a Spoonful of Leather, which is also on Anything. And there was all that, you know, it's just that scene of like we were doing parties in like the Silver Cage, As4 place.
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
They were like our original like team was like all of us, Rub N Tug, As4. That was like our crew, you know. And like we actually did one of the first parties in Silver Cage, and we were the DJs. And there was some other people that were
on
around.
Canal?
That was on Forsyth.
I was also thinking, was that the inspiration then for 205?
Oh, then 205, I started playing there. That I did Saturday nights there, and they reopened that. That's funny, that story, because 205 had been around forever. 205 was like a Coke bar back in the 90s. You go there, there was like just like shady people in there. And Thomas did a party in there years ago.
I remember when it was 6s and 8s.
Yeah, then it got closed down because the owner was like got busted for like dealing drugs or whatever. And then it came that 6s and 8s, because I forgot the name of it. It looked like a casino. And then Serge took it over, Serge Becker.
Yeah.
And I got a call from him saying, "Yo, I'm gonna reopen 205 Club. Do you want to play? Do you want to do like a residency there?" Because I knew Serge because I played at Joe's Pub. I did the Latin parties at Joe's Pub, the salsa parties. I was talking to him. He's like, "Yeah, I want you to do Thursdays." I was like, "Dude, I'll only do Saturdays because Passerby had just shut down, so I didn't have a Saturday anymore. Passerby had just closed. We did the closing party there, which was insane. We finished at like 1 PM. Then there was only about like 20 people left, and everybody kind of left. And then Joe Latimer was behind the bar, and he was just serving whatever booze were left, and we're drinking. I was like, "Man, so this place is done." And he's like, "Yeah, it's done." So I grabbed a bar stool and I fucking threw it over the bar into the mirrors. I shattered it. I just wanted to do shattered the whole fucking glass, the mirror behind the bar.
God.
And then everyone just started doing that, like throwing fucking bar stools against the completely, you know, I remember it was all mirrors all around in there.
Yeah.
All shat all over the floor, mirrors, full of mirrors. And the next day, afternoon or evening, Gavin calls me. He's like, "Dude, what the fuck happened?" But he wasn't mad. He was just like, "What the fuck happened there?" I explained to him. I was like, "Oh man, we just kind of like, I don't know." It was like 1:30 in the afternoon. We were so fucked up. It was over, so it was like, "Fuck it, let's really make it over."
Really make it over.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
that was so then that finished, and then jumping back to going towards, then Serge called me whenever it was, like a week later, 2 weeks later. He's like, "I'm taking over 205. I'm gonna redo it. I'm gonna like da 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 da. I want you to do a Thursday." And I was like, "No, I don't want to do Thursdays." He's like, "Well, we already got the other guys, Neil, Lean, and those guys to do Saturdays." And I was like, it's Neil and Stefan and all the guys who ended up taking over fucking Standard.
Yeah.
So he's like, "They already want to do Saturdays." I was like, "Look, Serge, I'll do Saturdays, or I'm not gonna do it. And he's like, okay, hang on, I'll call you back. And then he calls me back, he's like, okay, you can do Saturdays. And that was like, man, for like 6 weeks, the first 6 weeks of that downstairs, that was like the best place to be in New York. And it was a proper 3-way sound system. So it was like a really old school, like really good, man, for that little, 60 person room. Gary Stewart did the sound. It's the same sound guy that did Love. I got kicked out of Love. I was right about to play an after party, an after hours. So I'm gonna start the after party going to Sunday afternoon. And I was with Dash and Gabby from S4. We've been out since like Thursday, like no sleep. And I showed them like my record boxes and I pop them down, and like Dash and Gabby, it was snowing really heavy that night, I remember. And Dash and Gabby were out on the dance floor and I was in the DJ booth. And I think like Language or somebody was finishing to play. And all of a sudden I see like a boot come over the DJ booth, like a boot and then like a hand, and then Gabby like climbing over, and he stands on the turntables and I'm like cheering him on, like, yes, yes, yes. And he stands on the turntables in Love, which was like, that's pristine DJ booth. He's standing on the turntables and the security tackles him, and the security grabs me and my records, drags me and him and Dash out, kicks us out into the snow. Yeah, that was fucking, I forgot about that story too. See, they start to come out after a while. That was that. So I had never played at Love. That was like when I was the first time I was going to play there. And that was that. And then I got kicked out of there, and that was that.
What were some of the people that were like pushing the needle culturally, do you think?
Back then, I would say like just all that crew downtown was like, like there was like the As4 crew, there was like individual people. I can't really say. I just say that it was just so much going on, and so many different people doing so many cool things and contributing. So you just have to go down a list of like, I don't know, fucking 200 people,
You said you were doing a Latin night at Joe's Pub. What year was that?
That was when Joe's Pub first opened. That was probably around 98. And I think that went on for a couple of years. And I was also playing other nights there. Just, once I was in there, I was in there. So like I would do that. Then there would be nights when they need me on a Saturday or Sunday. I play like other things, sort of disco and whatever, soul music. The thing with me is I started to get more traveling more. So I stopped DJing as much in New York. So it's like I would go out on the weekends, or I go like once a month to Europe for like 2 weekends, and I come back. I didn't feel like DJing unless it was like something special or whatever. So I didn't feel like doing that grind anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't need to either. So, and I was also working at A1 Records at all that time too, from like 98 until 2006, I think.
Yeah, I remember dropping off flyers when you were there. So how did that time impact you now?
I don't know. I think it feels like so long ago, and like such like I left New York in 2015. I lived on the road for like a year. And then I've been in Brazil for 2 years, Bali for 2 years. So I feel like so like kind of disconnected from New York in those days, especially now when I go back, it's like doesn't feel like anything like it used to be. So, and not in a sort of jaded way, just like a factual, like looking down the street and people walking down the street, it's not the same. To me, it's just now when I go to like some of these parties in New York and you're way out in the fucking cut, I'm like, goddamn, by like the airport and shit. And you're like, and it just looks, I feel like I'm in like Arkansas or something. I don't even feel like I'm in New York. I'm like, what the fuck am I?
I mean, I know what you're saying. It's like, it was so easy to just like hop down the street and be in the mix of where you wanted to go. You didn't have to travel in a cab or take the train to get to where you wanted to go.
Yeah.
What am I missing? What are we missing? Do you think? I mean, I tried.
We didn't talk about Santos either.
Oh, Santos. Okay, go on Santos.
They pulled me out of 205 to start doing, when they first opened, I quit 205 Saturdays and did Saturdays there in the basement. Because 205 at that point was like dying out. It was like it was in timeout. It was like super trendy. And it was like, I went from knowing like, 90% of the people there to knowing like 5% of the people I was DJing for on Saturdays. And it got like really like not fun. So then when they opened Santos, I was like, yeah, of course, let's do it. But before they opened it, they were doing little like art shows in there and things like that, which were good. There's a good story of they did an art show, and Dash did a turntable with the plate of the turntable was a mirror, and he had like a swirl lines of cocaine on it, and then the stylus had a straw, so you put the stylus on and you spin the turntable and you can just sniff the coke. And so I was like, I asked him, I was like, dude, it was the opening of the show, and I was like, is that real coke? He's like, yeah, because nobody was fucking with it, and I was like, fuck it. So I went over and just did like a big ass line of it through the thing. And I turned around, there was like 15 people in the line behind me to do to do it. And then we started doing at the gallery, which was at Santos. But yeah, I remember that was a funny one. That Dash's art piece was a mirror turntable with a straw, and it was real coke.
Genius. How often were you playing at Santos? Every Saturday for how
It
long?
was every Saturday for a while. Then they started getting worried about their bottom line. Then they had like Grandmaster Flash had to start doing the basements or something like that because they needed to like make money. So they couldn't have an alternative dance party downstairs. It was me and Spun were doing downstairs.
Oh yeah, I remember Spun.
Because Spun was doing at that time, he was in charge of the warm-up at PS1.
Mm-hmm.
He booked all that stuff.
Were the cabaret laws affecting you at all?
In the 90s, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
90s, it was like, that was Giuliani's fucking thing. There was a gay bar that was like next to that gym on 6th Street that was like between A and B, and they would have a light go on and you had to turn the music down. Like the workouts, so it was like old school, like getting rated style. You'd flip the switch and the light would come on in the DJ booth, and that would be like turn the music down.
I mean, you gave me a pretty good history lesson.
If you think of anything else, we can do this again. Just let me know.
All right, awesome. I appreciate your time.
No problem.
Yeah, it's good to see you too.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks for hopping by. That's it for this week. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, and stalk. Bounce, little kitty.